Welcome to the Peter Boyle Show. Jeff and Bill filling in on a very special Saturday down at the Colorado State Assembly. This is where Coloradans from all around the state came in to Pueblo and are voting as delegates as to who gets to be on the ballot. Whom gets to be on the ballot. But this is a big day because there's two ways to get on the ballot, folks. You can go out there and collect signatures. That's how Barb Kirkmeyer did it. Those are the folks you meet outside of King Soopers, for instance. The other one is to come into this room where there's thousands of people and you win the room. You get at least 30%. Now, there's 18 candidates today joining us for governor. You got candidates for Senate. You got candidates for Attorney General, as well as state treasurer, all the statewide. This is a big one today. And we're in the room. We're overseeing this wild experience. You have counties from El Paso here. You got all the counties. El Paso, La Plata, Denver, Arapahoe, Jefferson, Elbert. All over the state are here to pick who's going to be on the ballot that you will be voting on as a Republican or as an independent. In June. That's when the ballot. That's when the primaries. This is the day that the decisions are made as to the names that get on that ballot. So it's a wild one. Billy, give me a sense. What do you think here?
Oh, this is kind of nice. In fact, there's kind of something going around here. You can see who the delegates are, and then you can see who's running that wants to be nominated, because those are the people wearing the suit coats and the ties.
Yeah, that's right.
If you spot a suit coat and a tie, that's going to be a candidate. Or it's going to be a campaign manager. Everybody else is dressed to be very comfortable, very casual, and very American. It is definitely a sea of red, white, and blue. We've got people filling in from Baca and Sedgwick County right now. Gilpin is making their way through the door. It is a slow trickle. There's some issues getting people through security up at the front. We know it's a long line. If you're listening outside, we know there are a number of you. Hang with us. Everything's going well. And shout out Victor Mark's campaign, going seat to seat, providing those comfort bags, kind of a little bit of merch, some chapstick, a fan, everybody else putting merchandise. You know how on seats for all the delegates, you know how you go to the big games watching the Nuggets and stuff, and they put the towels and things on the chairs? That's what they're doing. They're going around. So you're getting something at the chairs as you go.
Terrible towels.
Yeah.
I mean, so live with us here, we're having lots of guests come by.
Yes, we are.
Candidates. We've had Michael Allen. We've had candidates for State House. We've had candidates for governor. They're all swinging by our live broadcast here in the room to say hi. You know him because he almost needs no introduction at this point. He's well known in Colorado Republican conservative circles. That's Weston Eimer.
And he's probably wearing the best shirt of the day. And Weston has got the best shirt of the day. That is an outstanding shirt, sir. That is fantastic.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That is wonderful.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
This is a company called Haven Golf Company.
Nice.
And they sponsored me when I was a member of the RNC youth team to wear their stuff because they've got all these political.
Now, those that are just listening to us right now don't see this visually. Basically, it looks like a kind of almost like 45-degree red and white striped shirt. So it's going that direction, but you can tell it is a pattern inside of the stripes. It's not just solid stripes. There's something going on with the patterns. When you get close, it's a 45 is the red and a 47 is the blue. It is a very clever and nice, stylish shirt, my friend. That's one of the better ones I've seen today.
Tell us your affiliation with the Colorado or the National Republican Party.
So I'm a former member of the Youth Advisory Council for the Republican National Committee. Served on that for about a year and a half under Dave Williams when he was chair. I got appointed. Advised the National Party on how to engage Gen Z, how to win that vote. We did successfully win Gen Z, increased our numbers tremendously in 2024, and I truly believe that we had a hand in delivering President Trump the White House.
I think that's exactly right. I think you did. Now, Weston, you have some information as to some of the challenges, the logistical challenges we're facing. What's taking people so long to get in the room here?
Yeah, I'm hearing issues with ballots. I'm hearing that they were having issues with printing ballots, that they ran out of paper to print the ballots. Also, going through credentialing myself, the badges were not pre-made. I was the political director under Dave Williams when he was the chair of the state party.
This is just printed right there. It's like a sticker.
Literally, it's a sticker on a piece of paper tag and a lanyard. And they put it together when you come up and give them your ID.
Why do you need to have this printed if you're voting by hand?
So this was for credentialing. So they give you the badge, and then when you come in the door, they scan the QR code on your badge to put you into the credentials queue.
But then you're going to vote by hand.
Then we're voting by paper ballot, yes.
This is weird. I don't. It seems confusing to me.
It seems very weird.
All I can say.
Can't we just put marbles in a jar?
I wish we could.
Whoever guesses the most gumballs gets. Yeah.
And you are running for governor.
Exactly.
What I will say is that 2 years ago when we did this assembly, also in Pueblo under Dave Williams, it took under 10 minutes to get in the building, credentialed, and have your stuff. There have been people standing out there since 6 a.m. this morning that are still not in this building.
Yeah, we walked by a lot of them this morning. There's a huge line on the campus.
By the way, Gabe Evans in the room now, Congressman from Congressional District 8, the most competitive district in the entire country. He's in the room making the rounds right now, shaking hands.
Now,
right,
I got a question for Weston. Yeah, I got a question for you, sir. Want to know about the youth inside of Colorado, where they're breaking based on your conversations in party affiliation. A lot of time they are looked at as the kids that, I kind of like that, but I'm kind of slackers. What are you seeing based on party affiliation? We know there's always going to be a lot of disgruntled nature because that's the young kids are angry and grouchy. But what are they doing? What are you reading? What are you hearing?
What I can tell you is that Gen Z is still strongly conservative in their viewpoints, right? We have seen a little bit of break with this Iran war and gas prices going up. We're seeing a little bit of disgruntlement in Gen Z. But the reality is I think they're going to come into this midterm cycle with, we're going to do this midterm convention, which hopefully we'll hear more about today from our party chair before her resignation. But we are expecting that during that midterm convention, when we have our, wall-to-wall coverage, that we can really reach out to Gen Z again and really show them, hey, this is why this stuff has happened and we are working to correct it, and don't have short-term memory loss. Let's look at a year ago. Gas prices were down. Your lives were better. There was more money in your pocket. Your taxes went down, right? I mean, tax refunds this year, record highs. I got more money back than I had in the last 5 years from my taxes this year. And I did not commit fraud. So, I think you're going to see Gen Z turn around. I think there's obviously going to be that short-term sticker shock from gas prices and other things, but it'll come back.
Weston, who's going to lead the Colorado Republican Party next?
I have a horse in that race.
Who is it?
I'm backing Joe Oltmann.
Okay.
I know that a lot of people have mixed feelings on Joe, but Joe has always had our back, and we've always had his. And if there's anybody that has really blown me away in the chair race announcements, it's Joe, because he actually put together a plan. He actually has a plan to engage my generation, to raise money, and to restore our party. Just this week, we had the executive committee of the state party vote down an emergency injunction that would have potentially kept unaffiliateds from voting in our primary this year for the first time since Prop 108 passed, and they shot it down. And now we're going into literally what the court has deemed an unconstitutional election process that was deemed this 2 weeks ago. Unconstitutional election process because the executive committee wouldn't act because of this administration's sour grapes. So if there's anyone that's going to turn around this party and give it back to the people in this room and get that opt-out passed, it's going to be Joe Oltmann, and he's got my full support.
That's Weston Eimer live with us as we are down at the Colorado State Assembly. You're listening to Jeff and Bill filling in for Peter Boyles. All right, let's talk governor's race. Hot race, 18 candidates. How many come out today? Who do you think's on the ballot?
I think that's going to be a short list.
Yep.
We know Barb Kirkmeyer has gone through assembly, so she's already, through petitions, so she's already on the ballot. I think Victor Marks, he doesn't need more than 10% today to make the ballot, but he's got a lot of people in this room. And personally, I have to say, with what he's done here, he has stacked this room with delegates and done petitions. He's trying to shut everybody else off of the ballot because he knows he's got to challenge Barb. Personally, I think Scott Bottoms is going to make it through. I'm staying neutral publicly in the governor's race, but I think you're going to see Victor and Scott definitely make it through. I do think we have an underdog in the room as well, and that is Maria Orms.
Interesting. Maria Orms.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we've had her on the program. Very talented.
She is, and she spoke at the Arapahoe Tea Party, which I chair, a couple weeks ago, and her message was incredibly, well put together, and she really resonated with that room. And she also made the time to come to the Tea Party. And I think that spoke volumes, because I tried to get Victor to come many times and he wouldn't come out and speak to us. So looking forward to seeing how that goes.
Awesome. Weston Eimer, thank you so much for taking time to join us.
Yes,
Weston
thank you,
Eimer,
sir.
give people your X account. They can follow that.
Yeah, it's Real Weston Eimer on X. You can find me there. And hey, go Mark Baisley for Senate.
There you go. Weston
Excellent.
Eimer, thank you so much. We have a state senator here, and then we'll get to Johnny real quick.
Yeah.
We might need to send Johnny around. Or... Come on, grab a seat.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Good to see you
That's
too.
Linda Zamora Wilson, state senator, joining us. Thank you for being down here. What brings you down here today? What's the point? You're on the ballot, right? You're running for. Are you on the ballot this year?
For
You're
state senate.
State senate. You will
Yeah.
be on the ballot this year.
Correct.
Do you have a primary?
I do.
You do?
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Did that emerge yesterday? Or?
No, that emerged immediately, almost immediately after the vacancy
Okay.
selection. Yes.
So good reason to be down here. Meet people, win them onto your side, so you'll face a primary in June, right?
Correct.
Okay. How you feeling?
How am I feeling? I'm feeling blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you optimistic? You're going to win in June?
We'll see what the good Lord has in store. That's how I've been throughout my, I guess you'd say, my political career. Is we'll see what the good Lord has in store for
Well,
me.
you can give us some insight into what's happening at the state capitol. Tell us about the budget battles down there.
The budget battle right now, it's at the House, and they're experiencing their battles, and it'll head over to the Senate. I was talking to one of my constituents, saying that I halfway was thinking of bringing some of the bills in here so I could study them while I'm waiting for
gonna
this
be a long
process.
day.
Yeah.
And I should have done that.
Yeah, right. Where do you want to see cuts as a lawmaker? You guys are $1.5 billion in the hole. Where are we making cuts?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I mean, we've had Democrat control in the House, in the Senate, in the governorship since 2019, and we've seen costs just ramping up, and all these special programs, we need to cut those.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah,
Right. Well, thank you
we
for
need
leading
to
that
decrease the government. It's bloated.
Yeah, big time. And it's not a tax problem. We're taking in more revenue than we ever have before. There's more money coming in from people's pocketbooks into the state than ever before. There's more federal dollars coming into the state than ever before. It's time to rein this all back and quit buying all these programs. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is our population hasn't grown the amount percentage that our
Boom. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, Senator, give folks your website if they want to
Yes,
learn more about
thank
your
you.
race.
So you can find me on X, Facebook, and Instagram. I know I have a couple of them. My candidate is Zamora for Colorado. That's ZAMORAFOR, Colorado.
Great. Thank you for taking time
Thank
to
you
join
so
us.
much.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it.
Appreciate
This
it.
is the Jeff and Bill Show. We're
Filling in for Peter Boyles.
Peter Boyles.
Yep. Yeah, we're filling in for Peter Boyles. This is 710 KNUS. We are live on the campus of CSU Pueblo. And this is the state Colorado GOP Assembly. People are slowly starting to fill in. We're going to be talking to Johnny here in a second, longtime caller, and he's actually looking for some votes here today. We're going to bring him over. He went through the long line outside and is now going to be joining us. We're going to give you the sights and sounds as everything kicks off here today. Masai Arena in Pueblo on the campus of CSU Pueblo. Filling in for Peter Boyles, it is Jeff and Bill. And we're welcoming Johnny to the show. Johnny, how are you, sir?
What's up, guys?
So nice to see you.
Regular voice. You know that voice
Yes.
on 710 KNUS. He's with us. Now, dude, you can't really. Is this for real?
Yeah.
You are running for office?
Yes, I am.
I'm so excited.
Whoa. All right, tell us all about it, Johnny.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my third time around. I was running against Alice Valdez, and I keep putting it out there that he works with those, what are those things that you put on buildings to draw the light in, to warm the buildings up?
Oh, like skylights?
Solar.
Yeah,
Solar
Yeah.
panels, right?
Yeah, solar panels.
So, conveniently, they passed a law that says that all commercial buildings have
Yeah.
to have solar panels.
Oh, that's convenient.
So, he's set up for when he leaves office. So now,
You get a job.
That's super convenient.
yeah. So now there's 5 Democrats running to replace him, and so whoever wins their primaries, whatever, that would be the person that I'm running against this time.
Oh,
Johnny J. 4, the number 4, HD5CO.com.
Yes.
Yes.
Johnny, and Johnny, what's your last name?
Johnson.
Johnson. Johnny Johnson. Okay. Johnny, JOHNNIE, J, 4HD5CO.com.
Yeah.
You even got Braille.
Oh, yeah.
That is wonderful.
That
now,
is cool.
now, Johnny, what brought you into the race? Now, you have been involved in politics on the sidelines, watching, observing, and always being a faithful commentator. You've had some time in media. Why jump into politics?
Well, I'm very concerned about the school, 64% of the kids not being able to read at the third grade level. Then the economy, because everybody buys food, and with Polis up here saying we're going to put fees on this and fees on that, and getting past the Tabor, and I just thought it's just too much shenanigans. And I'm the kind of person, okay, small business, small government, and just get out of our way and let us live like Americans rather than
Right.
all this other crap,
Yeah,
That is true. They put up a lot of
always being at the whim of whatever the government program is that they want to create. I'm tired of it, man. Here's what bothers me. Is just watching my friends, my family members work so hard and having so much of their money taken away from them for programs that don't work.
Yeah.
Right? It just bothers me. So, yeah.
And it just seemed like we're like a one-state party now.
Yeah.
And they need that opposition to check them.
Yeah,
Because just too much of the craziness is just going on.
Now, Johnny, you are a longtime Colorado resident. You've watched Colorado change and go from something that is red into blue. Talk to us about that change and where you see the temperature is right now. The people in this room will tell you that the wind is blowing red. Are they right? Do we think we're tacking back more conservative? What are you hearing out there?
I think there's a lot more common sense. Okay, for instance, I go to a brunch with a bunch of older guys, they're like, 65 and older, and it's at this church. So the director came in and said, we want you not to be afraid. We want to protect you. And we looked at each other, be afraid of what? Well, it's only because they service a lot of illegals. And so we said, we're not doing anything illegal, so why should we be afraid? Just craziness going on. So I think, the grown-ups, we fell asleep for a bit. Now the grown-ups are awake. So now we're moving forward.
Time to get the state right.
I hope
That's
so.
Johnny Johnson. Johnny?
Yes, Johnny Johnson.
Johnny Johnson. I've always known him as Johnny.
Johnny J.
Yeah, running for HD5.
HD5. You got to check him out. Now, Johnny, do you have a pick for governor?
Okay, I'm Scott Bottoms.
Scott Bottoms is your guy. All right,
nice.
tell us why.
Okay, well, one of the reasons I just like the way he didn't quiver on getting Tina Peters out of prison.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, they said, well, it's a jury of the peers. Well, back in the days when they were lynching people like me, they all had, jurors of their peers, and they let them walk. So I just said, no, something. She wasn't able to present certain things in that courtroom, which lopsided, and the judge was totally against her. So I just said, okay, yeah, she had so-called juries of her peer, but I don't know. I've seen that game. I've been around long enough.
There you go. Now, Johnny, I want to ask you, Trump made big inroads with the black community.
Yeah.
How do Republicans continue that?
You know what? It was really, this is how I picked Trump. Me and my wife, we were coming back from Europe in June of 2015. We happened to be in New York. We went to Central Park, and then she said, hey, there's the Trump building. So we went over there, and she said, and she's from Europe. So she said, who's that tall, redhead guy with these guys around him? And it was him coming down the escalators. Yeah. As soon as he came down, I said, that's my guy, because I've been watching him on TV all the time. So it's like, I went from Democrat, because I never could vote that much for Democrats, because it was like, even though I was listed as one, I didn't agree with a lot of stuff they were for.
Johnny, we got to run here.
All right,
Thank
God
you
bless
so
you, man.
much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Johnny.
Thanks for being down here. We'll continue. Jeff and Bill filling in for Peter Boyle, 710 KNUS.
Your KNUS forecast for this Saturday and this entire weekend is a good one for the metro area in the Rocky Mountain West and High Plains region. Temperatures warmer again, a little bit of some possible spring shower and weak thunderstorm activity, especially this afternoon, this evening. But showers and storms throughout the weekend will not amount to anything, and we'll see highs in the mid-70s, lows middle to upper 40s. 70s again Monday, better chance of a few showers and storms late. Tuesday, trending cooler, increasing rain chances. I'm meteorologist Mark Huer on 710 KNUS.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show, filling in for Pete. Jeff and Bill filling in for the Peter Boyle Show.
Yeah, Peter Boyle Show. Peter Boyle is off today. We are back on Monday. He filled in for us yesterday. We are down live on the campus of CSU Pueblo. We are in Masai Arena. It is the state GOP party assembly. It is a wrap-up of debate club. It is prom and a little bit of cosplay all at one. Yeah, this is where all the political geeks are super happy.
I'm wearing a giant red foam MAGA hat. If you remember the Turd Ferguson reference on Saturday Night Live, I look like
it is fantastic.
That guy. So yeah, we're talking to candidates. We're talking to experts. We're going to be analyzing the speeches if they ever begin.
Ever. Yeah.
I think they're now an hour and a half behind.
Yes.
This thing will go till the show on Monday. We might
Yes, it will.
I might be.
Yeah,
still
I'm
here
leaving you with the kid.
broadcasting.
I'm going home. I'm going home, my friend.
Joining us live here, Teddy Collins. Teddy is running for Senate District 4. All right, Teddy, introduce yourself to our listeners.
Yeah, so Teddy Collins running for State Senate District 4. That's Mark Baisley's former seat. I cleared my assembly out this last weekend, so I'm the only candidate of the ballot out of the three that we're
That
running.
means he faces no primary.
That's right. That's
So
right. Just the
he is
general.
heading straight into the general. That is good work in itself.
It is.
You kind of got to do some horse trading, maybe make some phone calls, or just make your case that nobody's as good as you. And
Several
you
thousand
did that.
phone calls, but yes,
Yeah,
got it done.
you
got
made
it
the
done.
case. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Teddy, what do you do for a living?
So I own one of the largest family-owned and operated gun stores in the state. I own Spartan Defense out of Colorado Springs.
Fantastic.
Yes, sir.
That's no easy feat these days
It's
in
not,
Colorado. A
it's not.
lot of gun shops heading north.
Yeah, no, I've been an activist up at the Capitol. I'm the vice president of industry for the Colorado State Shooting Association, and I've been fighting back against anti-2A, anti-civil liberty, and anti-parental right laws for the last 5 years up there.
So activist, business owner, now you want to demote yourself to elected official.
Oh yeah, no, the pay's not great. I'm definitely taking a pay cut doing this, but I had the reason I'm running is I had a threat against my daughter's school. They go to an elementary school with 400 elementary school children, and there's not a single armed guard, SRO, or armed staff member. The school will not allow it, nor will the school board. They believe it leads to an unhealthy learning environment. It's a bunch of leftists and socialists, and you know what really leads to an unhealthy learning environment is bullets and kids getting hit with them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, Teddy, help me understand this. I was in Colorado in 2013 where there was a hint, there was just this idea of restricting Second Amendment rights, and everybody was recalled. I mean, it was wild.
Yeah.
It was like, you take our Second Amendment rights away? Oh,
you're
no,
done.
absolutely not. They jumped right in there, recalled him. Now it's just like, oh, you want to ban any gun? Sure, go ahead. What happened to the people of Colorado, Teddy?
I agree. Well, I will say with recall efforts, it's become quite tricky because what happened, what we found in 2013 when we did this is once we actually had a successful recall, or it was looking like it was a successful recall, that person would step down and then they would a vacancy would be appointed from their party to replace them. That even came in worse in many cases. That's how Tom Sullivan got in his original district.
We just heard
so.
17 gun bills coming from him.
Yeah, he's
That's wild.
we need him out. You know, Danielle Lehman is running against him. I'm helping her out quite a bit. Definitely support her campaign. Support Danielle. She needs it, folks. So he's one of the worst senators in the state Senate. We need to take that seat back.
Wow. Well, that's not your seat. You're filling Mark Baisley's.
Yes,
Mark
sir.
Baisley, great senator,
Yes, sir.
running for U.S. Senate. Does he have your support today?
Obviously, I think that Mark is the most qualified person to run for federal Senate. I think
All
he
right.
really is.
How
you
about
know.
governor's race? You got to pick in the governor's race. 18 candidates will be making speeches today.
That's
Only
a lot of
3
candidates.
at the most.
You know, I was
going
to put my name in there just to mix things up.
Why not?
No, just kidding. No, there's several candidates I'm looking at today to see how they come out today. You know, obviously Victor Marks is a favorite, so is Scott Bottoms, and I think one may surprise you. I think Sheriff Mikesell may come up from the back of the pack there and make it on the ballot. We'll
We've
see.
heard a few people say
Yeah.
Mike Soul was
Now,
the
that's
stalking
interesting.
dark horse.
Yeah,
here.
that's Teddy Collins. He's running for Senate District 4. He's going to be taking over Mark Baisley's seat. And we're talking on the Peter Boyle Show today. Jeff and Bill live from the State Assembly in Colorado, in Pueblo, Colorado. Pete's got the day off. He filled in for us yesterday. So let's talk about what you think is going to be important inside the governor's race, Teddy. Just from your point of view, what do you think are those issues that could help the candidates for governor? We got a whole long list of them, but if you were going to sit in that room and say, listen, guys, these are the top 3 things you got to talk about if you want the people in this room to vote for you, what advice do you give them?
So obviously affordability is big in the state of Colorado, and my version of affordability is cutting red tape, regulations, and rules to get government out of the way and to keep them out of your pocketbooks. That's plain and simple. So I think they need to hit on that to deregulate and decentralize government here in the state of Colorado and fight back and veto bad bills and bad legislation. I think another one, of course, is going to be parental rights. Parental rights is huge. We've got all these issues going on. We've got some really good ballot initiatives that are going to be on the ballot with Protect Kids Colorado. We need the governor candidates standing behind those and pushing for more. We need to make sure that sex offenders are behind bars and they don't get let out. We need to make sure that our kids are protected and our schools are protected. I think those are going to be huge hits. And then last but not least, guys, the Second Amendment and civil liberties here in Colorado. Look at what's going on with our constitutional rights. We are now one of the most restrictive states in the country, and it's unacceptable. unacceptable. This is not what our founding fathers had in mind with us.
Yep.
This is not what they had as the intent of this nation. They'd be rolling over in their graves right now. It's disgraceful.
Teddy Collins, give him your website.
CollinsforColorado.com. That's Collins with 2 L's and 4 spelled out, Colorado.com.
There you go. Teddy Collins, best of luck in your race.
Yes,
We're
thank
going
you,
to
sir.
probably be seeing him at the Senate. I think that's a
Yes.
good seat. He's won the primary.
It's
He's
a
gonna
plus
be
20
there.
district,
We're
but
gonna
I do have a serious
We're going to be
Democrat
calling
chance.
him
Yeah.
Senator here
Yeah,
in
nice.
January.
see
Good
you
job,
there. God
baby.
bless.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks for
guys.
stopping by, Teddy.
All right, now, when go ahead, we're going to get Trisha Calver
Yeah.
in here.
See,
Now,
we're up at the ceiling of the Messiah Arena,
It's a
and
little-
so yeah,
little
we
tight
have
here.
we are right up against the wall. So every time we got to change out guests, they got to do the little shimmy by each other as they're
So,
going by.
Billy,
so it's good they're all friends.
Now, have you
Yeah.
ever wanted to walk in a room and everybody's head turns?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Well,
That's what just
I always feel
happened
like I've done
when Trisha
something
Calver
wrong.
Say walked in because everybody went, she's a Democrat who challenged Lauren Boebert. That was a tough race. She jumped right in there. She was ready to challenge Lauren again. So to have her walk in as a Democrat into the state, Colorado Republican State Assembly, everybody went, interesting. So tell us why you're here, Trisha.
Well, hey
Calver
guys,
Say.
nice to see you. I didn't
Yeah.
make the ballot, so I'm not going to be on the primary ballot
No.
on the Democratic side. So I figured I'd check out what's going on the Republican side, how you guys run your conventions. Yeah, here's press. So.
Well, tell us about your race because you were the nominee last year. You faced Ellen, I forget Ellen's name. What's her
It's
last
Eileen.
name? Or Eileen
Laubaucher.
Laubaucher. She won't come on our show, by the way. We've invited her a number of times. Won't come on. You did come on our show.
Yeah.
Which we appreciated.
Absolutely.
But you're up against her. What happened there? Can you give people some insight?
It's just something with with the parties here, where we've got a Democratic establishment that essentially put their finger on the scale. Where, we have rules for how you qualify for the ballot. You can either go through you petition on, or you go through our caucus and assembly. And there's
Same
rules.
here. Same rules.
There's rules for caucus and assembly where you got to be, a member of your party on the Democratic side for so long to qualify to go through our caucus and assembly. Eileen missed it by a day. Okay, so she was not a Democrat long enough to go through caucus and assembly. And in 2 other cases, the Colorado Party removed candidates who did not meet that threshold. They were booted from their caucus and assembly.
Rules are rules.
Rules are rules, but in this case, they said, well, we're just going to move the entire assembly, not only in Colorado 4, but for every congressional district to accommodate Eileen. And I said, wait a second, that's not fair. Those are not rules. That's what people are sick of. So I ended up ultimately taking my party to task. I actually ended up in a lawsuit. We didn't win, and Eileen ultimately will end up on the ballot. And because I didn't, I won't get the delegates. I'm not on that.
Why didn't you win?
Well, she did a good job stacking the committee, where anybody can sign up. There's a certain deadline, and where we could have stacked the Republican convention, for example, if we drove a bunch of Democrats to switch parties and to go through your convention. That's just fine. That's allowed.
Wow. So that's Trisha Calver Say. She ran against Lauren Boebert as the Democrat nominee last cycle. She was doing it again. Got treated wrong by the Democrats. I mean, we often, at least the internal fightings within the Republican Party are often out in public. Are you saying that there's just as or maybe not just as much, but there's at least some division within the Democrat Party where the leadership kind of throws their weight around?
Absolutely. We've seen it time and time again, and I think this is a lesson that Democrats really need to learn. People are sick and tired of the establishment putting their finger on the scale and picking candidates that, frankly, time and again, prove to be losers. It's not matching the electorate. It's not what the folks want.
Wow. Well, we're glad to have you here. We hope you have a good experience.
Thank you.
Republicans, very welcoming people. So it's fun. Frankly, when we saw you walk in, we're like, now this is interesting.
Well, there does need to be that. And, just on the trail, I heard so much from so many people from so many backgrounds. They are really sick of the divisions. They're sick of the fact that folks can't come talk, can't have a conversation, that a Democrat won't show up on shows like yours and have this engagement. So that's what I'm here for. And I'm actually, it's really interesting talking to folks to what makes you a Republican. What are your values?
Why do you think that happens? Why do you think we've gotten to that place?
To the divisive part?
Why?
I mean, because there's a big tech is incentivized to profit off of it, where we're all fed these algorithms that are really dividing us, that are showing us these kind of separate realities, where I think we're a lot more, people agree on a lot more than...
By big tech being incentivized, what do you mean by that?
I mean on the social media platforms. Like, you look up...
But how are they incentivized? Because what I'm looking at is, I understand the idea of cutting the algorithms in half, and I appreciate that, but that would be based on engagement and money. But wouldn't that be the end user? How are they incentivized if it's not the end user's behavior? And what I'm saying is, if it is not our behavior that is playing into that algorithm, then isn't it our fault?
But the algorithm programs that behavior.
No, but the algorithm feeds our behaviors. The algorithm feeds what you want.
Exactly.
So if I go in, but the algorithm isn't going to choose. If I come onto the platform new, until I start leaning into either one feed or the other, it's not going to feed me that. So the incentivization is based on the behavior of the end consumer. And that's how the businesses run. Well, businesses have to incentivize the end consumer. That's how you meet the market. And so I understand the critique on the idea of the social media, but I disagree with the idea that it is from the top down. They're responding to what the consumer wants, and we do that to ourselves. How many times here inside of Colorado have you seen people that are called Republican all of a sudden become rhinos and then not become rhinos? And that's not big tech doing it. It's not the algorithm. That is us. That is us doing it, and that is us in our feed wanting the algorithm and wanting the social media to give us one story, the story that we agree with.
Well, and that's where, and I think it's a question of those inputs, though, right? Where you're acting like it's a totally blank slate. These companies, they buy your data. You don't own your data. You don't own your digital footprint. These companies do, and they monetize it by feeding you divisive information, by feeding you divisive reality that I think has been very toxic to the way we have public debate or discourse at all in this country.
I also think it appeals to some of the more base aspects of our humanity, like you see it with sports gambling or pornography or stuff like that. Yeah, we may have natural desires to that, but it like wants to feed things to you to engage more, and I don't always think that's good. But that's Trisha Calver live here with Jeff and Bill at Peter. We're filling in for Peter Boyles down here at the Colorado State Assembly. Now, Trisha, I asked you this question when you were live in studio with us. Would you consider running for another office?
I mean, I keep my mind open to it. I don't think on the state level, my wheelhouse really is in the federal level, just having worked in the labor movement, having worked in government. I know how it actually works, how you actually move an agenda. So I don't think you've seen the last of me. No.
There you go.
Excellent.
Yeah. I think that your willingness to come over and talk with us. And you asked me a question off air when you were in our studio that nobody else has ever asked me, and I think it's a really important question. She asked me...
He said the rash has gone away and used all the creams. We appreciate it. It was good. Yes.
She just goes, what would it take for you to be a Democrat? And I said, for me, it'll probably never happen, but it's the sanctity of life issue for me. That's core. That is the most important issue. That's why I'm in politics. But we don't have those conversations. But I'll ask the reverse back to you. What would it take for you to join the Republican Party?
I would love for the Republican Party to back privacy again, to get medical establishment out of the choices that a woman makes with her doctor.
Mm-hmm. So it's the choice issue for you.
Yep. Even though and I'm Catholic, I was raised Catholic. I don't think I would ever get an abortion, but my mom had an ectopic pregnancy the year before I was born, and she had access to that life-saving care, and so I just want to make sure everyone has access to that.
All right. That's Trisha Calver. How can people continue to follow you? Because I think you're on a journey.
Yeah, I think this is a character arc, man.
You were challenging Lauren Boebert, right. And today, as a Democrat, you were challenging Lauren Boebert. Today, you are at the Colorado Republican Assembly. You're on a journey. People should follow it. What's your social media?
So it's Trisha, the number 4 Colorado. You can usually find me on all the socials.
Trisha 4 Colorado. Are you going to support Eileen at all? Does she have your support?
I mean, I backed out. I didn't go. I could have fought even a little bit harder, but backed out, and hopefully that helps her, clears her path.
Okay, now here's the $10,000 question. The pyramid. You get the car. You get what's behind curtain number 2. Okay, if you were in this room and you were a delegate, we're talking top of the card, who do you vote for governor?
Oh, Barb Kirkmeyer.
Is that it? Why? Now tell us why.
I think
now, again, this is Trisha Calver, who is Democrat,
well,
former candidate.
If I'm a Dem, please vote for Victor Marks. We would love that. Go ahead. I think that would be the best to run for.
Interesting. Okay.
So that's my answer. As a Dem, I would love you all to vote for Victor Marks.
Ooh.
But just, as somebody who's been in the arena, I think that Kirkmeyer does. I mean, she knows her stuff. She's smart. She's savvy. She's decent retail politics.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That may be the most interesting answer all day, Trisha. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. It's great to see you again.
Thanks, guys.
Trisha Calver Trisha for Colorado on social media. All right, Billy and I will continue. We are live down here at the State Assembly. We haven't had a moment to take a breath.
No, we haven't.
So many people coming by.
I need more caffeine too.
So many elected officials. I see Gabe Evans working the room right now.
And I haven't got me any of these free T-shirts. All these free T-shirts are not. I don't have a damn T-shirt yet.
Marks shirt?
I need it. I don't care. I wear free T-shirts.
Bottoms
see my wardrobe.
Sure.
Yes.
All right. Listen to Jeff and Bill filling in for Peter Boyle, 710 KNUS. 710 KUS in Denver. This is Jeff and Bill filling in for Peter Boyles today. We are live down at the State Assembly in Pueblo. At least I think we are.
Yeah, we are. Right.
Either we got here really early or they're doing something wrong because it hasn't started yet.
This is kind of a mess, personally, as critiquing so far. We're bumping up against 11 o'clock coming up soon, and we haven't started a single thing. This should have kicked off a couple hours ago. Can't get people in, and you can't start anything because the people that do the voting are still in a giant line outside. This is a mess, and they are trickling in very slowly.
Give you this credit, Bill.
Yeah.
If this is the argument that Republicans are making that we can run elections better.
Yeah, this may not. This is not gonna.
Hello.
Yeah.
We can't even get people in a room to meet yet.
Yeah.
So
credentialing issues, ballot issues,
or run the
problems.
state better.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a critique. Well, joining us live here is Laurel Eimer. Laurel Eimer's on the executive committee for the Republican Party. Get real close to the microphone there.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Laurel.
Yes, thank you.
Good morning, Jeff and Bill. How are you?
Well,
good to see you.
We're glad to have you here. This is a meeting that hasn't kicked off yet. We've had lots of candidates come by, but Laurel, I don't think there's anybody more at the center of the Colorado Republican Party than you. You're incredibly involved. So, Laurel, give us a sense of what happened. There's a series of votes, meetings with regards to a lawsuit. Help us understand what happened.
Correct. So Proposition 108 was passed by the voters in 2017, and what that did was make Colorado have an open primary, meaning that unaffiliated and or Democrat voters could change their voter affiliation and vote in the primary election for any candidate that they choose on any ballot. And then if they choose, they can change their voter registration back and vote differently in the general election. This is something that fundamentally as Republicans we believe is wrong. We believe that through the right of association, we should be allowed to dictate our candidates and only have Republican electors and Republican voters vote for our candidates. My example, for people who don't understand, is if Ford Motor Company was having a board meeting on the design of a new Ford Mustang, and General Motors decided to send people from their board into the Ford board meeting and offer advice and say, well, this is how we think it should be done, and we'd like to take a vote. Do you think that Ford Motor Company would allow that?
No, I mean, and to your point, we just talked with Trisha Calver, and we asked Trisha who would be best for the Republican nominee, and she goes, well, I personally think Barb Kirkmeyer's nice, but as a Democrat, I'd like to see Victor Marks up there. That exact issue where they can pick because they know they're going to go up against a battle.
That's exactly right, and that's why we must move to closing the primary. So there was a lawsuit that was started. I was one of the original named plaintiffs in the lawsuit that was filed in 2022 to overturn the unconstitutional open primary law. And so that's been being fought by Randy Corcoran, one of our local attorneys, as well as John Eastman, who's a former attorney with President Trump, to overturn the open primary. We've been fighting this battle for a couple of years, and this week we finally had a ruling by a Colorado district judge that said that a 75% threshold, which was what was placed in the bill of 108, meaning that 75% of the entire body membership present of the Republican Party at a state central committee meeting had to vote to opt out of the open primary. This judge ruled that is unconstitutional because that bar is set too high. It's impossible margin to reach.
That's more difficult than getting an amendment passed.
Correct.
To the Constitution.
It's absolutely impossible to do. Now, what has happened over the last couple of years, especially under the leadership formerly of Dave Williams as our party chair, was that we came close to that, and he worked to try to get things through so that we could push that number, and so we did get successful votes that were a majority, but we were never able to reach that 75% threshold. Now, the most recent meeting that we had in September of 25 under Britta Horn, the chair, we took a vote of the state central committee. The central committee is the governing body of the state party. They took a vote of the membership, and we received a majority vote in that situation to opt out of the primary and to send that directive to the Secretary of State that we would opt out of the primary for 2026. That vote passed. Britta Horn refused to file that vote for us. So we are still in a closed primary. That was also the same day that she refused to fire Steve Klenda, who was the attorney that she has been having on the payroll to the tune of close to $700 to $800, somewhere between $700 and $900 an hour, which has now put the state party in debt to close to $300,000. He was also fired and relieved of his duties by that Central Committee vote on that same day in September of 25. She also refused to fire him. So she has a record pattern of refusing to listen to the governing body that has elected her.
Now,
Where are we?
I got a question. Yeah, Laurel, I got a question on this. And this, I'm outside. I'm outside the the party system. Part of the reason that I'm unaffiliated is because I want y'all to pick your team and then tell me, and then I'll take a look at that anyway. But I want to play a little bit of devil's advocate. Two things. One, is it a significant problem? Do we know that there are enough people crossing over to muddy the waters? Again, I don't care if you just don't want one extra person in there that doesn't belong in there. That's fine. Your party, your rules, do whatever you want. So do we think it's a significant problem for it? And what about the argument that those unaffiliateds that are the largest voting bloc in Colorado, if they decide to cross over into your primary and pick someone, just say it's genuine. Let's not say they're doing it to play, but they're doing it and they genuinely like one of the candidates, aren't they then more likely to follow and join and follow and vote for that candidate in the general? Aren't you cultivating, in theory, cultivating voters early on that normally wouldn't be part of the the Republican primary by cutting out those unaffiliateds? It's a kind of a two-sided sword, and I'm not sure either one is necessarily germane to whether or not you want to close your primary, but what do you do with the arguments?
Well, I can tell you the data tells us specifically that since the primary was changed in 2017, the Republican numbers have dropped dramatically. We are now third behind the Democrats in voter registration, under 900,000, I believe. We're just hovering at 900,000 in the state. And then to your argument, I say no. So most people, the majority, I mean, how many people are going to be here today? 4,000.
Yep.
These are the active people who pay attention, understand, know what's happening within any party structure, whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans, because they pay attention. The rest of the world, and most of the people listening to your radio station right now, they don't give a crap until they are standing there with their ballot in line to either drop it in a box or vote in person, which is what I recommend on Election Day, by the way. But they don't know and they don't care. So the argument that, this was one of the arguments at the State Executive Committee meeting on Friday night, was that we need to have an open primary and our candidates need to have their name on the ballot for advertising. I'm sorry, but that's ridiculous. If you are a candidate, you need to be advertising in other places than having your name on the ballot.
I would agree with you.
Okay, so to say that we need to have them seen in some other way, that's ridiculous. Nobody's paying attention. The general public's not paying attention in the primary, so it only matters when we get to the general election.
That's excellent.
Laurel Eimers live in, I was going to say in studio.
This is our studio today. CSU Pueblo.
CSU Pueblo, that's right. Jeff and Bill filling in for Peter Boyles. Now, we've only got about a minute left. Laurel Eimer, who's your pick to be the next chairperson of the Colorado Republican Party?
Well, this is why it's so important. Because of this ruling, we had an opportunity on Friday to close the primary for this election cycle. We missed that window because the executive committee voted it down 15-9. The new chair has the opportunity to take that into the next couple of year cycle and move that forward. My choice is Joe Oltmann. I support him, 250%. There is no other choice to run this party. The party has already been burned to the ground by our current chair, Britta Horn, and we need to build it up. And Joe has the resources, the mechanism, the attitude, the drive, and the determination to make that happen. He's got a plan like I've never seen from any chair. I've been doing this for almost a decade. I've never seen anybody come in with a plan like he has. He's got a 30-day, a 60-day, a 90-day, and a 2-year plan. And Joe Oltmann is absolutely the person to vote for the next chair of the state GOP.
That's Laurel Eimer joining us at the Colorado State Assembly. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much. It's good to see you guys again.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's a wild day that may eventually kick off.
Eventually.
We're waiting. They're running hours behind right now, but we'll continue to follow all of this. We'll get analysis from top Republican leaders here at the Colorado State Assembly. You're listening to Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe filling in for Peter Boyles, 710 KNUS.